Hello and happy Tuesday. This afternoon, we are going to venture to Iceland with Spice Destinations. About 2 years ago, Travel Wizards was fortunate to partner with Spice Destination. The founder, Eitan Silverberg, visited our office and introduced us to his company and philosophy. He walked us through one of his itineraries, and we all wanted to join him on his adventures. We fell in love with his enthusiasm and knowledge, as well as his honesty and integrity. Today, he is going to take us to Iceland and show us the beauty this country has to offer. Take it away, Eitan.
Hi, everybody. Over here in New Jersey, we are, forgive my weird Costa Rica background. I needed some peace of mind, so I'm sitting in my garage. There are 3 kids at home, my wife and 2 dogs, and that's pretty horrible. So I came into the backyard. I didn't want you to see all the mess. So hello again, everybody. It's a pleasure to be presenting you that beautiful country, the beautiful Iceland, one of my favorite destinations ever. And very fortunately, we started Iceland about 5 or 6 years ago, where it was kind of coming out of darkness when it comes to travel, and then it hit up so quickly and becomes one of the top destinations. We sell quite a lot of them, but this is became one of our biggest destinations in really a short while. And I hopefully, by looking at those amazing pictures we're going to go through and understanding what is happening over there, you'll see why I'm so excited about this place. So let's just jump right into it. The first thing you should know, of course, is Iceland, interestingly enough, is an island, of course. It's an island that is in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, which is exactly halfway between Europe and the USA and Canada. So what it means is the fact that you have, you probably see, Angela, can you see the mouse? You are not Angela, sorry, Dominique. You're mute here now, but hopefully you see my mouse on the screen. Yeah. So there is the continental divide between the 2 tectonic plates of Eurasia and the USA, and which is actually the Americas, sorry, are going through the island. So actually, half of it belongs to the America tectonic plate, and the other one belongs to the Eurasia, which is funny enough. It's one of the only countries you can find actually that it's happening, and the island is growing all the time because it's being pulled from each side while filled up with magma coming from underneath. That's why it's so active when it comes to volcanic, and it is what makes it so very special. We're going to go through the island and all the attractions around it, and just a few things you should know. The island itself is as small as Kentucky when it comes to the size of it, and the population of Iceland is only 360,000 people. That's it, and that's a pretty large area. Most of the population is right here in Reykjavik, in the capital. You have about, in the suburbs of the big city, you have about 220,000 people, and the rest of the 340,000 are scattered around the entire island, which makes this is one of the less inhabited areas in Europe when it comes to how many people share 1 square mile. So it has a lot of vast of wilderness, which is absolutely spectacular. We're going to start with our capital region right over here. Then we're going to make our way around the island through what we call the Ring Road, which is very famous. So this is Reykjavik. Reykjavik is the capital of Iceland, and it's a very simple, beautiful, lazy city. It is not your monumental European capital that you would know from other places. In many areas, it looks like maybe the Soho or the Village in New York when it comes to that one. Small, beautiful, colorful houses lined up together. It's only now starting to have a bit of, you can call it high rises and some capital areas for that one, but mostly resident and very, very quiet and safe. The biggest church here became the city's symbol, and it is a very spectacular place to be. That's the famous church. By the way, the names of those places many times will be right over here or in other places. Do not ask me to pronounce them. There is absolutely no way I pronounce them. Actually, I think that when Icelandic people are talking, they're all mocking us, and they just come up with weird sounds because it cannot be they can actually pronounce those words with all those letters in there. So this is a view from the top of this beautiful church on the city itself. You can see how it is. Remember that Iceland used to be a U.S. base in the time of the Cold War, after the Second World War, all the way to until Ronald Reagan and Gorbachev signed on the end of the Cold War agreement in Iceland itself. So there was a big American influence over there. So they are pretty much Americanized, and it's funny. The people in Iceland are very laid back. They are not the typical Scandinavian at all. We actually call them the Latinos of Scandinavia because everything is like mañana for them. It's all very slow pace. They take their time, and they have a weird saying in Icelandic, which of course I cannot say or pronounce, but it means it's gonna be okay, which freaks me out every time they say it because said, what do you mean it's going to be okay? And it's always okay. They take care of everything. Very, very special and unique people. They have a lot of art everywhere in the city, beautiful art installations. For if you like it, you will enjoy it. You walk in the street, you will find it anywhere. This is right on the promenade in front of the fjord over there, the bay actually. There is a lot of murals everywhere on the streets when you can go and do a tour of those murals if you like art, street art, which is pretty spectacular. This is the Harpa Concert Hall. It's a relatively new building. It's one of the most spectacular buildings that I've ever seen in my life from the inside when it comes to architecture. It has this interesting crystal, hundreds and hundreds of windows and crystal that can actually show LED lights in all colors and all shapes. They can write things, they can show flags and logos of companies, depends who's there, and all kinds of big events. And in our tours in the city, we always go to visit that Harpa place, which is always open to everybody because there is a combination of some cafes over there, some shopping, and of course all the concert. And people are just invited to walk in and out of this as much as they want, which is pretty an amazing place. Very important when you go to Reykjavik is that you always make some place for shopping. This is not the typical shopping plaza you're going to find in the USA. So you're not going to have Old Navy and Gap and ShopRite right next door. Everything is different. The fashion is different. The fashion is coming from different places. Some of them is Icelandic, some of them is Scandinavian. A lot of arts and crafts that are very different. A lot of work with the lava stone itself because it's all volcanic. A lot of work with silver and gold. Spectacular ceramic and pottery over there. A lot of wool because they have so many sheep over there, which is not even funny. So definitely make sure you find yourself at least a half day just for shopping, even if you're not into the shopping, just to see what they have because it's so different than what we have over here. That's a typical street in the old city. You can see that walls are made of tin, and some of them are colored, some of them are colored in just gray, and this is actually conserved right now. They're not allowed to touch it. This is this is very historical for them. And this street over here on the weekend becomes pedestrian mall, and you have hundreds of little shops over there, and it's so many bars and restaurants, and people are just walking out, and children on bicycles and skateboards. It's a very, very cool place to be. You should also know that when it comes to Iceland, it is considered today the safest destination in the planet, period. They have no enemies, they have no war, they have no army. Their police has no guns. Talking about guns, we know what guns mean in the USA. Whether you are for it or against it, we still have a lot of them. In Iceland, they have a lot of guns for hunting, but they have absolutely no issues of shooting, and there is no violence and no crime. So the police have no guns. Actually, some police cars will have a gun locked in a special suitcase in the back of the car, and in order to use it only in the case of extreme emergency, or really when somebody is threatening to shoot somebody else, they will actually have to call in the headquarters, get a code in order to open the back of the car and to reach for that gun. The gun has been used once in the recent history when somebody that lost his mind was shot out of the street. There was a case over there when they actually have to go. They shot that person, and the police people actually were crying on TV and apologize for the family and everybody else of what they had to do. So this is for you to tell you what is Iceland when it comes to safety and security. That was one case in the history when a person was killed by police. This is how colorful those streets are. The country is very gay friendly, which is very important. They celebrate the gay pride in August actually, and it's one of the biggest festivals they have. They just needed a reason to celebrate. So everything is colored and beautifully done. When on those very few sunny days that they have over there, they're all in the streets, sitting out there, drinking excellent beer. They have tons of beers and breweries over there of their own, which is interesting to visit. And it's the only country that I know of that actually have a penis museum, which is pretty spectacular. Really, it's very interesting. It's a collection of penises from all over the world. some humans too, believe it or not. Some people, crazy enough, donated their organ after they died, but mostly of different animals. You can imagine my son taking a picture of penis of, standing next to a blue whale. That was very impressive. He was very red. But that's actually one of the registered museum, and it's very, very interesting and a lot of giggling when you go over there. So you can see the Pride Week, they actually colored the streets, and you can see the church up in on the top, and even the harpa concert is putting up their colors of the Pride flag. So it's really, really happy place to be. They also have tons of very, very good humor. The Icelandic, everything for them is a joke, and this is a daycare for husbands. So ladies, when you're going up shopping, you can go ahead, deposit the husband over there. They promise to have over 20 TVs and a lot of sport to keep them happy, a lot of beer, and you can go shopping while they're over there paying by the hour. So that actually works very, very well. They also have other nice jokes. You know, it was actually illegal to have beer in Iceland until 1989, believe that. So they're trying to catch up and asking for your help to come in and drink with them. So, and that's why they have so much beer. But even today, when you're actually going to buy alcohol like liquor or wine, it's only government-owned shops and a very restricted time of opening, etc. They really were afraid of drunk people. That was the biggest fear in Iceland because of the long winters and the cold weather. Needless to say, they are getting drunks over there in the weekend, but not any more than any other European countries. When it comes to food, Iceland is surprisingly good food. Up to 20 years ago, there was pretty much nothing to eat in Iceland. It was one of the poorest countries in Europe. Yes, they had fish, but they didn't know what to do with them, so they will either steam them, boil them, that's about it. In the last 20 years, this scene has totally changed, and they have this incredible amount of young chefs that have been in Spain, have been in Portugal, in the US, in France, and they have learned a lot. They brought it in, and they use some of the best ingredients you can imagine. Their proteins in Iceland are absolutely spectacular. We're looking at everything is organic, everything is grass-fed as a default. You will see all the sheep and the cows always out there. They are never in the barns. They don't have factories. The chickens are out there. Everything is fresh and good, exactly the way nature wanted, and the fish is pretty amazing. Just so you know, Iceland is not part of the European market. Therefore, nobody has the right to fish in their water. That's the reason why they never became part of the European community, which means that Iceland today produces 2% of the entire fish industry in the world, which is pretty amazing in quantities. A lot of the codfish of the Arctic char that you're getting today is coming from Iceland, and it's a top quality, and it's all over the place. I mean, the fish is so fresh. This guy is doing food walks or culinary tours of the city of Reykjavik. This is spectacular. He starts with something very, very scary. He's holding in his hand the little white fish over there is actually pickled rotten shark. It is what it is. They take the shark, they let it rot, and they pickle it. It smells like, it sounds like, it's horrible, but they say it's an acquired taste. I can never get myself to eat it. And they wash it down with what they call, it's the death liquid, Black Death. This is kind of their liquor over there, which is very, very strong, and I guess is to get over the flavor. You'll be surprised how many people that actually went on those culinary tours, how many Americans are actually trying that rotten pickled fish, and the results vary. That's really funny. But when we go out for those tours, you try their lamb, which I told you is one of the best things. The fish they have, the salmon they have, everything is pretty spectacular and very unique to them, and the quality is beyond words, okay? And the prices as well. They also, as I told you, doing a lot of their beers, breweries, and you can do some beer tasting, which is crazy. Everybody smiles at that point, and after that, it doesn't matter what you eat, you're already smiling. And also very important, when you are in Reykjavik, you should go golfing. Surprisingly enough, this tiny little state in the size of Kentucky has over 70 golf courses. Many of them are around the capital. Some of them are awarded already and have been very renowned as being very, very special golf courses. They are so special that some of them are actually heated in the winter under the grass with the geothermal water, so they never freeze. So you can actually play that, of course, in the winter. Now, in the summer, freezing is not an issue because it doesn't snow, and you actually have midnight sun. So we can arrange for you a tea time starts at midnight and goes away all the way through your night, because you're never going to have dark over there during the peak of the summer, which is pretty amazing. Okay. The other thing you want to do when you are in Iceland, in Reykjavik, make sure to spend some and splurge a bit for the helicopter tours. These are absolutely spectacular. What you see from the top in Iceland is something that you can never see anywhere else in the world. The colors are different, the view is dramatic, and it is probably the most rewarding helicopter flight you've ever done. It's affordable to a point, and it's absolutely one of the best things to do. The other thing we do from the city is a lot of buggy tours, and the reason I'm showing you here, that's, by the way, my family over here. You see the overalls we're all using, and that's something you will see all over in Iceland. Every time you have a special adventure activity, they provide you with the entire gear, everything, with a helmet, even the gloves if you don't have them, with the boots and everything to cover your head before you put the helmet up. Everything is being washed all the time. That's super clean, and that's super important because in Iceland they never let the weather stop you. And you can have even in the summer, you can have a snowy day that comes out of nowhere. You can have absolutely a beautiful sunny day, which is slightly warm. It never, ever, ever get hot over there, ever. I think that the warmest day I've ever been in Iceland was 68 degrees, ever. I think sometimes maybe they get a heat wave of 72, but that's about it. It's really, really always mild, and in the winter we actually think it's very, very cold, but it's by far warmer than northeast of the USA, for example. So the problem in Iceland is the amount of the rain, and the wind is crazy. So you always wear those very good overall protections, which are totally water sealed and wind sealed, and you feel nice and warm, and you don't care what's the weather. You just go out and have fun. And when I say have fun, you're actually having a lot of fun, which is absolutely crazy. You go through the rivers, you climb up the lava fields, and it is absolutely fun for the whole family. All you need is a driving license, and you can do that. Then we're going to move down from the city itself to this peninsula, which is actually, this is where the airport is. Reykjavik, it's called Keflavik Airport, is right over here, and the city is right over here. And this peninsula has kind of everything you want to see in Iceland, which is a lot of lava field in all type of colors, a lot of steaming pools with horrible smell of sulfur, and amazing colors of the ground because of the minerals coming out of there. All kinds of craters and lake, mountain biking that you can do all around the place, and everything is steaming and beautiful. And this is just about 25 to 35 minutes drive from the city. It's a beautiful day trip when you're living, when you are in the city, or on the way back to the airport on the last day. Most of the flights to the USA are leaving at 5 p.m. So this is a great way to get up, have breakfast, go and do a bit of that peninsula, and end up at the airport for your flight home. Another very famous thing in that area itself is the Blue Lagoon. The Blue Lagoon is actually, that's going to be a shocker. This is not hot springs. If one of you think this is natural, you have a big mistake. This is actually all man-made, and it's a byproduct of a power plant. If you look over here, the very edge, you will see the steam coming from the power plant. What this thing is actually they're using geothermal water. The steam actually that comes out of the ground is so strong and it's so powerful that it pushes the turbine and creates manufacture electricity. However, those turbines actually becomes very hot and need to be cooled, and also the steam at the end becomes colder and then becomes condensed and becomes water. They take those water and they just pump them back into the lava field. Now, what is happening? These water are absolutely full of minerals, and when something happened, when they kept on putting them back in the lava field, thought it will trickle down and go back into the ground, it reaches over here a level of seawater, and the reaction between the seawater and the mineral in that water that came from the volcanic area actually create the mineral called silica. Silica is a white milky mineral. That's why the water look actually white milky. It's the sun rays that makes it greenish and turquoise before the Blue Lagoon. And the temperature of the water is actually always the same throughout the year because it's coming from the power plant all the time and it's being replaced. So this is super, super clean, but it's very healthy. What you do is you buy your entry over here. You can get 2 masks. You see everybody has a little bracelet that says what type of entry he paid for. You can get the algae mask and the silica mud mask. You put it on your face and everybody is walking around like ghosts, which is absolutely spectacular. And you come out and your face is like a baby's tush. It's really, really soft. The problem with the Blue Lagoon that it may look like that for photography at night or maybe on not busy day, but when you come there on very busy summer days, it can look like that, and that's not fun at all. So what they have created lately is something called the Retreat, which is the only five-star hotel in Iceland. Actually, Iceland doesn't have a lot of luxury. And this retreat is located right over there in the Blue Lagoon, and it has its own private lagoon and its own private spa, which is absolutely spectacular. And only the people that are coming over there to the spa for the day or for the hotel can use the retreat lagoon, and it is absolutely secluded and worth every penny. Every couple actually gets a private changing room with a shower over there, so you don't have to be out there in the public. You get a window of 4 hours when you come only for the day use, and then you can do the spa treatments, which is extra, or what they call the circuit of the Blue Lagoon, which is part of the deal. When you go and you do different scrubs and different applying of different masks, and it's all in this beautiful setting, and it's quiet. Children under 12 are not allowed, so it's very, very quiet, and it is one of the nicest way to start your trip in Iceland, because again, the flights arriving from the USA usually land there at about 6 a.m. Your room is not going to be ready before 2 or 3 p.m. because it's they don't have 5,000 rooms for hotel where you can come and something going to be ready. It's not Vegas. So most cases you just wait and you're tired. So this is the best way. It's only 15 minutes from the airport. We take you straight over there. You spend 4 hours in that hot water, take a massage, have a beautiful lunch, and then after lunch you get to the hotel, your room is ready, and you crash, you go to sleep until dinner. So this is the retreat and the spa hotel. Look how beautiful the design is. The rooms are spectacular. Some of them have their own private lagoon outside. Some of them use the private lagoon of the retreat. This one is a private lagoon with a private dog that comes in. This one just have the beautiful view, and is surrounded with the moss and the lava field. So it is really, and there is this beautiful Italian bath. Look at the view that you see outside. This is all lava field covered by moss. By the way, that moss is super important. It's a special plant that takes 100 years to grow, and it's protected. If it wouldn't grow over there, or it wasn't there, or it would be exposed, the ash that sits on the lava will become dust that will fly in the air, and it will be almost like sand glass flying towards you. So therefore, you are not allowed people to step on it and walk on it, and the more of it is the better, because first, it's beautiful. Second, it keeps everything clean. Otherwise, it will fly and can scratch your face when it does. Look how beautiful the spa is. It's supposed to be like a lava cave coming down. Another thing that you want to do when you are at Kravik and in the same area, it's called inside a volcano, which is the only place in the world you can do that. You start walking on this lava field for about 45 minutes in this kind of uneven terrain, but it's not difficult, but you walk. It's really a walk, and it's up and down a bit, and then you get into a hole, and that's actually a crater. And you step on that bridge over here into that elevator, and you go down over 400 feet inside a volcano, which, of course, thankfully is dormant. And what it is it's the only place on the planet. Look at this. This is the elevator coming down, and this is the hole of that volcano. And what is the only place where you had a magma chamber that did not collapse in after the eruption. It's emptied up from the magma and stayed huge and hollow. And it is so big, look at the size of it, and all the colors that you see as those natural minerals that comes with the magma that goes out, which is the lava that flies out and sticks to the edges of that big, hole, that hollow volcano. So when they opened it the first time, when they saw it, they got in. They were just saw a hole in the ground. They came in and said, well, it's dark, it's ugly. They came out. Years and years later, they brought some lot of light, and then they saw these incredible colors that you have over there. And since then, somebody actually bought the mountain and bought that hollow volcano, and this is attraction that is open only during summer time, because you cannot walk over there in the winter when it's all covered by snow. Look at the size of it, look at the color of it, and it's so big you can actually put Lady Liberty in there. Look at the size of this place. It takes 6 minutes to go by elevator all the way into here, and of course we're not going all the way down here. Then you walk about 15-20 minutes around that area looking at the colors, then you go out down the crater and all back about 45 minutes back to the base camp. We are going now to the south shore of Iceland. which is probably the most touristy and the most beautiful place in Iceland for those that are coming for a short while, because it is relatively close to the city. The city, again, is over here, Reykjavik, and you can do this maybe as a day trip if you really push it. But what we're usually telling people, if you only have 4 or 5 nights, spend at least 2 nights in that area because it's so intense with attraction. And let's start it. First, it has some of the most spectacular waterfalls in the country. Second, you're going to find over there the special Silfra, which is a place where you can go snorkeling if you really want, because the temperature of the water over there is about 35 to 36 degrees Fahrenheit. But you actually go snorkeling with dry suits. It's not even wetsuit. These suits do not allow one drop of water to come in, so you don't feel that cold. You just feel it in your face when they're exposed, and the face go numb after 30 seconds. So who cares? But why would you like to snorkel over there? You actually looking right here on the place where the two continents, or the tectonic plates are pulling apart from each other. So again, this side will be the Americas. This side over here is Eurasia. When you go in, look at that, you're actually standing between two continents. Now, this is something funny over here. This is actually a trick. Look how clear the water is. This photo is actually upside down. This is the way this photo should look. I'm just putting it again back here. You see, the visibility in the water is considered to be the best in the world. You can actually see in the water for over 300 feet. The reason is because this is very, very fresh water coming through the volcanic rock, and they have been trickling from a glacier through volcanic rock that is like a sponge, like it's very spore in there, for over 5 to 30 years. That makes sure that they are the cleanest water you can find. It is so clean that it actually doesn't support life. You don't have any fish in that area where they come out or anything else, and you can see, as I said, for 300 feet. And what you could do is you can put one hand in in Europe, Asia, and the other one you can put it in the Americas without paying for a ticket. This is exactly the crack, and actually sometimes stones are falling because this is keep on moving all the time. This country is growing by about 1.5 inches every year. Okay. Another thing you will see over there in the golden circle, famous golden circle in Iceland, it's Geyser, which is gave the name of geyser, I believe, in English. This is the original place that it was called off in English. You will see how it starts. You stand very close to that, and then how it keeps on going, and then it erupts totally. You see how everybody is close, and the place is full of them. It's just everywhere, and they just sprinkle water everywhere you go, and it goes every 7 to 6 minutes, and it is a beautiful spectacle. This is Gullfoss, or the Golden Fall. One of the most photographed falls in the planet. A lot of movies were there, and it's part of that golden circle, which was promoted by Iceland Air as a stopover in Iceland. That's why it became so beautifully and amazing, and it's a great day trip outside Iceland. This is the same Gulf from a different angle. You can see the different tiers here. You can see how the water falls into that crack. It just absolutely, and the spray goes all over, and it just doesn't stop year round. Another thing we do in the South Shore is going a bit inland into this place I cannot pronounce. Look at this greenish color of this copper mountain over there, and this again the mountain and the colors. It's all volcanic, so everything depends on the mineral that were there that will give the color of the earth. Look at that spectacular, amazing thing. Total, full of hiking trails, very easy. Everybody that can walk for about an hour, 2 hours can find a nice trail over there, and of course craters that are spectacular, and you out totally surprised. You just drive up. This is our friend's car. You just drive out over there, and you can see everything ahead of you. Another thing you'll famous in the South Shore will be those waterfalls. This is Slagjafoss, which is famous because you can actually walk behind it, and it is one of their iconic waterfalls of the country. So when you walk behind it, this is how it looks like, and the water just falls everywhere around you, and it's extremely, extremely intense, and it's never stopped. Another word is Skogafoss. Skogafoss is about 180 feet tall, and it's extremely wide, and it just comes off the top of the mountain, and it just, again, falls all the time. So, and what's important to tell you is that even if you guys are not in the highest shape, and you sometimes cannot walk a lot or trek a lot, most of these attractions are pretty much 3 minutes off the main road. So if you can walk for 3 or 4 minutes of uneven surface, you should not have a problem seeing some of the most spectacular, iconic highlights of this country. You don't have to be a hiker or a trekker. If you are, it's a bonus because you keep on doing so much more. But if you just want to get wow effect, all you have to do is go around that ring road and stops every couple of miles, get off, look at it, take a picture, come back to your car and keep on going. So we even have people with walkers that could do that trip because we just take it easy and there is really not a lot of efforts whatsoever to be able to see all that. It's really easy. Just look at those places. These are just the colors. And what's incredible in Iceland, I don't know if you've noticed so far, no trees. Iceland have no trees. The trees were either cut off by the first Vikings to build their ships and houses, or it was when they introduced the goats that came into the ship, they actually ate the baby trees and they never grew, and then add to that the very difficult climate plus a lot of eruption and lava that came down. There are pretty much no trees in the countries. They are now planting some trees around the cities. You're going to find some, but they're very small. And the forests are ridiculously small, and they say that the big joke over there that if you ever lost in a forest in Iceland, all you have to do is stand up because they're so short, those trees. They're funny. This is Thorsmok. You see that little letter over here, like a P, it's actually pronounced like TH. Thorsmok. This is the Valley of Thor. Probably my favorite place in the country. You have the ice cap right over here, and this is a valley where you go in and you go with a four-wheel drive, with a super jeep, you go with ATV vehicles, depends of whatever you want to do, and you can spend days trekking up and down or just walking or sitting in a car without moving, just looking out of the window, but you will need a very special car for it. We'll see it in a second. Something I've done with my family this August, we got a special permit to travel to Iceland because it's still closed for American at this point. We went down and we took this guy, he's a farmer, we took those ATVs, and then after a few hours of driving in this amazing place, he opened up the funny aluminum foil tablecloth, put it over, and it did this barbecue with lamb, Icelandic lamb, and corn from the tin, and we had the best meal ever in some of the best views you can ever do. And we do that for all our clients if of course they want. All you have to do is be able to drive an ATV, this vehicle in the back, which is so easy. Here you can see them right over here, and it is one of the most rewarding day you can have on a trip. Look at this view. This is really something out of this world. And look, there are no people around there, and this is exactly what we are planning when you are going, is to be away from the crowd, away from the buses. We never sell that in group tours ever, and you should never go on a group tour in Iceland because this is not going to be the same experience, okay? Here is another beautiful canyon. A lot of science fiction movies were filmed over here. If you are a fan of Justin Bieber, his music video was also filmed over here. This is all in the south coast of Iceland. Look at these beautiful, beautiful mountains. And you're always going to see that the colors in Iceland are black because of the lava, green because of the moss, and it's going to be blue of the water and white of the ice. Pretty much these are the only colors you're going to find over there, with some variation between spring and fall. Maybe it becomes a bit greenish or brownish, but that's about it. Okay, now these are the super jeeps. That's very important because you're going to be using quite a lot of this in Iceland. In order to get to all these beautiful places without climbing mountains, you can actually sit very comfortably in a modified SUV. They put those huge wheels on them, and you can go through everything. These things travel over ice, icebergs, ice caps, glaciers, mud, snow, go through rivers, everything you can imagine, and we actually use them. This is not just for the fun, this is actually to be able to do all the crazy stuff that we want to do in Iceland without getting hurt. Look at this. This is something we actually do on a daily basis during winter and spring over there. We climb through the water out into the snow, and in the summer you just climb onto the rock, but that's something you do, and you will be surprised how many people own these type of cars in Iceland. You will see them everywhere around there. Another thing we like to do is to go snowmobiling. And snowmobiling in Iceland is absolutely one of the most fun family thing you can do. If you don't have a driver license, you can just sit in the back. Otherwise, you go ahead and you hold it. It's safe, it's stable, it's great, and you can go fast or slow as you can. And the view is spectacular because in this specific place, we're actually going and doing the snowmobile on top of the E15 volcano. So this is not just a regular glacier. It's a glacier that sits on top of a volcano. And because it sits on top of a volcano, it's actually have good condition even through the summer because it's high enough in order to have enough snow even during the summer. The name of the volcano is actually Eyjafjallajökull. Okay, that I can pronounce. It took me 5 years to learn that name, and it's so difficult to pronounce it that they gave it a short name called E15 because of the letter E and the letters and the following letters afterwards. And this is the volcano that made Iceland so famous. In 2010, it's erupted and stopped pretty much all the air traffic from Europe to North America because of the flume of smoke and ash that it had. And after that, there was such a big jump in number of tourism to Iceland because all the time what we've seen in the news is those beautiful, beautiful volcano and the beautiful views over there. And what's incredible in Iceland is that because remember, the tectonic are being pulled. They're not being pushed like you have in, let's say, San Francisco, one under the other one. So the earthquake and the eruption that they have over there are not devastating. They're not violent because it's a pulling rather than pushing in. So in most of their volcanic eruptions, you can actually have people coming for the weekend with their Jeep, with a camp. They're just standing in front of it, taking picture of it. A helicopter comes to take picture of it. It's become a big touristic event, and they're actually now expecting a big one in the north of Iceland. We hope it's going to happen soon. So this is the famous E15 volcano. You can see the crater right over here in the top, and you go and you just do that. This picture was taken in the winter, so you can see it's a lot of snow. In the summer, you'll find by far less snow, but it's still a lot of fun to go up and down and have some fun here. Iceland is very famous for especially in the South Shore, the black beaches, and they're really, really black, charcoal black. And you can see that incredible formation of the lava, because that was a lava flow that when it reached the ocean and it got cool so fast with the water, it's immediately created those shapes of the rocks, which is very, very famous for volcanic rocks. So that's one thing you're going to visit over there. And it's black as black can be. And those, you can see those shapes here. It's me and my wife right here. You can see the shape of those rocks, those columns here. Another thing you'll see is you can walk up on the highlands, and there is a lot of hot springs that are flowing into freshwater river, which make it like a perfect temperature, like almost a baby-like temperature to go into the water. So after hiking an hour uphill in the most spectacular views, you just take off your clothes, you get into the water, and you lie over there, and it's the best fun ever. And then you just move to the right, you pick some fresh water, you drink them. You never carry water with you, by the way, in Iceland. You always carry an empty bottle, and you always fill it from the streams, because the water is the purest you will ever find anywhere. You never ever drink any bottled water in this country. Restaurants, it's always tap water, and when you get into your hotel room, you always drink tap water because the water is absolutely spectacular. And over here in the US, you pay about $6-7 for a bottle that is being filled in a tap water in Iceland. That's so you know. So don't ever ask for Icelandic water in a bottle over there. One of the most nice places on the South Shore. And of course, something we like to do is we go to the glaciers. They are so accessible and so close to the road, and they're not high. And you can go hiking, and the hiking can be totally customized to just a stroll up to really climbing, depends on your level and how much effort you want to make. And we can customize it for you. You do it either private or with a small group of people, and the view it's so much fun. And if you look at this, the ice over here is almost gray because it's covered with ash. So not like what you've seen in maybe Canada, the Rockies, or you go to Alaska when everything is just blue or white. Over here it's pretty much gray, and sometimes it's 100% dark because it's covered with volcanic ash from all the different eruptions that are coming every few years, which is also very special for Iceland. So you can see over here my son is playing golf with a little piece of ice. He's standing on ice. It's hard as a rock. You can see a bit of bluish over here underneath, but everything else looked like it was just a pile of mud. All this up to that line is ice, 100% ice, and it's all a huge glacier. We are standing on ice over here. You see waterfalls. You can see the blue color in the back because the ice keeps on melting, create all those crevices and all the waterfalls, and this is all volcanic ash that sits on top of it. Okay, this is a famous glacier lagoon in the South Shore. This is where the glacier arms breaks into the lagoon. The wind takes those icebergs and sculpture them and melts them and play with them and turn them around in the lagoon with the wind towards a little outlet that goes into the ocean. And in that glacier lagoon, you can see a lot of seals coming here and swimming. And every day is going to look totally different because every day you're going to have different icebergs that are moving down. And you can see again, look at that iceberg that is melting. You see white, black, white, black. All these are layers of ice that is filled with ash because of different volcanoes. So you could have like 4 years of just snow, and then a volcanic eruption, and then another years of snow, and then another volcanic eruption, and it's all show layers and layers in the iceberg. So you can see exactly what happened every year by examining the ice. Look at this amazing glacier lagoon. So over here, what we like to do is take a Zodiac and just sail along those icebergs. Look at those floating sculpture. And even if you are a bit in a better shape, you can actually do kayaking tours over there, which is absolutely the top adventure to do. Look at that amazing view. This is really, really unique. Silence. You hear no motors of vehicles or cars or anything else, just you and the nature. Really fun to do. And again, it's all in the South Shore. The Diamond Beach is where you have the outlet of that beautiful glacier lagoon flowing into the ocean. And then what happened is that those icebergs are going into the Atlantic Ocean. They go in, and the current and the waves are throwing them back onto the black sand, going back and forth, back and forth. And then you have these beautiful diamond-like pieces of rocks everywhere you go, especially in sunset. And look at this amazing view. This is really spectacular. It depends on how strong the current is. It depends how many diamonds you're going to have on that beach that day. And if you're lucky and you're there in the winter, you can actually see the northern light right over there, and this is a real added value for you. Now we're going to move into the east region. The east region is it's not very inhabited, and there are not very much places to stay over there. So pretty much what we do when we do the ring road, the circular road, we just go through it in one long day of driving. That's a very long day of driving, but it's one of the most beautiful when it comes to view, landscape, and what you will see over there, because it's very rough, very rigid. And that's why I tell people that if you're going to the first time to Iceland, never take a car rental, because you cannot drive and see all this all the time. The roads in Iceland are pretty narrow, very winding, and there are no shoulders to the roads. You cannot stop and take a picture. You have to keep on going all the time. It's one way to each direction. That's it, one lane. So the driver can never look at those things unless you stop somewhere, but you can't stop. So always go with the first time with the guide, so you can actually look out of the window, because it's not getting to the attraction in Iceland that makes the trip, it's driving through this country. So that's what I would like you to look at, this amazing place. This is actually ocean, and it's so calm over there, and it's so shallow that it's created this mirror effect. So once we finished with driving through that area, we're going to get to what we call north region of Iceland. And we're going to start in the area of Lake Mývatn, or we can go into the fjords for the famous whale watching. You can do whale watching pretty much everywhere. However, the north area is by far the best, and it's pretty much guaranteed you're going to see them from really up close. You can take anything from that very simple old fishing boats, or you can take a bit more equipped and larger boat, or if you want, you can actually go ahead and take the speed boats, which is the best thing. Again, you can see you get those overalls, which are also double up as floaters. These are special, very, very special and expensive overall that if God forbid you fall to the water, you actually float, and you get gloves and you get goggles sometimes, and you just fly over the water, and then you can get this close to those creatures, and this is absolutely a mesmerizing experience to be there. When we were there in August of 2018, we saw 3 blue whales and endless amount of humpbacks. It was just amazing. And of course, the killer whales are coming through, and it is just beautiful to see. These are some of the view of the landscape of the north. You can go river rafting over there. You can go and just park your car and come up to see those waterfalls. This is called Godafoss. It's one of the biggest falls in Europe, actually, with the amount of quantity of water that's coming over there. Look at this amazing falls. This picture was taken in October when it started freezing around. And you can see again the shapes of those column of lava. Always those shapes look so sculptured, so beautiful around it. Everything is steaming. Everything smells like sulfur. The north feels like you have arrived into Mars. It's so different. And the craters, everywhere you go, there are craters to walk around. And this is the North Sea, actually. It's a very edge of Iceland. So Iceland is actually just under south of the Arctic Circle. It's not in the Arctic Circle, but there have some islands and some Iceland that are actually right on over the Arctic Circle. For those that are crazy golfers and avid golfers, we actually have a tour that takes you to one of those islands, and then you can hit a ball over the Arctic Circle into the one hole over there. It's a one-hole golf course that we have for you right on that island there. Look at those. These are natural phenomena. This is actually all craters in Lake Mivath. Very active area that is full of spectacular places to be. This is one of them where everything is steaming. This is smells like hell, actually. If you think of hell, this is how it's going to look like. It's all bubbling. Everything is steaming. And here in a place, the first time I went with him, did a little trick on me. You see that little crack over here, said, hey, put your legs over one crack, and then he said, I just gave you a free ticket to the USA, because this is, again, the place where the continents are pulling themselves. This is Americas, and right over here it's Eurasia. And this is going to keep on growing and growing and growing. And that little pipe over here is a pipe that was put here around 1943. You cannot see the edge of it, but that was to bring hot water to a settlement from the spring around here. But because of the pulling of the continents, it ripped. And actually what they can do is they can measure what is the gap from the original pipe and this one, and they can see exactly how much the continents are pulling each other each year, which is great. Here is the name you want to remember. If you want to splurge, and I'm talking about really splurge, there is one place in Iceland called the Depler Farm. It is the most unique, I cannot even call it hotel, it's a lodge in Iceland. It's in the very north, in the most secluded area. This is how it looks in the summer. This used to be a farmhouse. That was the size of the original house, and then they built all that looks exactly the same. By the way, you can see the turf roofs, which are very Icelandic. It's insulating from the cold and the snow, and they have really put a lot of money to make sure it remains and look like a farmhouse. That's how it looks in winter, by the way, and it is a spectacular place to be. This is one of their picture of their spa. It's one of the best places to see the northern lights in the winter, because it is so clear and there is no any light pollution over there whatsoever. The place is all about all-inclusiveness. And when I say all-inclusive, it's all-inclusive, not just your drinks and your customized cocktails and the best meals you've had. Everything that you want to do is part of it. This place is usually taken off by people from the Emirates or the Gulf. They come over there, they take over the place for like a week. A lot of celebrity. I was there with some celebrities from the USA, which I'm not, I swore for secrecy, I cannot say who it was. But this is the only place where they can let off guards. They let all their bodyguards away. And it is absolutely a charming place. This is a hot water pool. You come in, this door opens up slowly, you swim from the inside into the outside. This is a fresh water, spring water that's being heated by hot water, so it doesn't smell. You can actually drink this water, but it's very warm. And this is, you come over here, that little door opens up, and somebody asks you what you want to drink. That's actually a bar. So you are being served and spoiled all day long. Nobody can see you, nobody can hear you. It really is a pleasure, and the rooms are done in a very rustic, luxurious way to look like a farm, but every piece of furniture over here is the best market can find. If you like fishing over there, there's a salmon fishing in the rivers, you have trout fishing in the rivers, and of course it's one of the best places on the planet to do heli skiing. And you can see the heli skiing season over there is between March 14 to May 31st in the case of 2021, but what I'm talking about, mid-March to the end of May, because otherwise there is not enough snow, and before that there is too much snow, and that's when you can or there is not enough light, and that's where you can actually do the heli skiing. And the heli skiing means that you're going to have a helicopter that's going to drop you and your guide up there on the top of the mountain, and from here it's just way down, and it's one of the only places, this and some places in north of Norway, that you can actually go skiing while looking at the ocean doing so, and it's just one straight down. There is no ski village, there are no lifts, there is nothing, just gravity. And it's not for beginners, I promise you. It's only for people that know how to ski, and it is really is very special. For those that want to know, the average rate for that Depler farm includes everything, but not the heli skiing. That's definitely extra because of the helicopters. We're talking about $5,000 per night for the room. So just take this in consideration when you speak with Dominique, okay? West Fjords is the most remote place in Iceland, also one of the most spectacular one. Unfortunately, very little infrastructure for travel, so we're just going to rush through it. A lot of things to do, but not a lot of place to stay, unfortunately. So over there, you can usually either have to go in like a 2-star motel or to take an Airbnb or something of that sort. It's also the only place in the country that actually they call it the White Sand Bridge, although it's almost orange, because it's the only non-black one, which is very special. And those cliffs standing up are just spectacular. And it's one of those famous places for horses, although you will see horses everywhere in Iceland. And these are the Icelandic horses. And let's speak about the Icelandic horses. Icelandic horses, and again, you see thousands of them everywhere you drive. They're just roaming everywhere around you. They're not wild horses, but they roam free in very, very large open spaces. They are considered to be the purest breed or race of horse in the world. And the reason is, this is an island, and all the horses that are there never came up later. I mean, in other words, the last horse that came into Iceland was in the year 1000. Everything is registered in Iceland. They know every family that was there, all the first Vikings, etc. So even the horses, when they came in, were registered. The last horse that was allowed into the country was in the year 1000. From that year until 2000 now and 20, these are the breeding of the same horses. It's the purest race ever. If the horse goes out of the country for either competition or a show, they're not allowed to come back at all. So they have to sell them out there. And actually, there are a lot of Icelandic horses in California, a lot of collectors. They cost quite a lot. They're very special horses. They're short. They're like ponies, extremely strong, but they also have a fifth gait, and no other horse in the world have that gait. It's called clout, not trout, clout. And that clout is very, very smooth. It's pretty quick, but it's very smooth. So the Vikings over there, they have this kind of competition where they give all the men big jugs of beer, and they have to run with the horse, and they have to circle a pole and then come back, and whoever did not spill the drink is the winner. However, most of them come with halfway without it because they drank it rather than the horse spilled. It wasn't their fault. The horse is perfectly smooth and are the nicest animals you can have. So this is a typical view. You will just drive over there, and that will be on the sides of the road. And look at those cliffs up in the north, and of course the bicycle ride you can do there. Look at those cliffs. Those trails are just spectacular. And of course the puffins. This is the national birds of Iceland. We call them the clowns of the sea. You can see why, because of their funny faces. I also call them the Jewish birds because they give the Jewish mother gives their babies two options. You can either be a doctor or a lawyer, or we're just gonna shoot you. So over here, it is pretty much the same thing. They, at a certain point, the parents of those little chicks tell them it's time to fly, and if you don't fly, we push you. And they push them. They push them off the cliff, and some of them make it, some of them don't. So actually, because it's an endangered birds, there are a lot of youth organization in Iceland that go and they collect those injured chicks from the bottom of those cliffs. We're talking about huge cliffs over here. They nurture them back to health, and then they release them to the nature. So we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of birds. And if you go there in the month of September, your kids actually can participate in some places in this type of volunteer work, which is going in the cities in some places and picking up those baby chicks into a big box, and then they feed them, they mark them, and let them come back to health, and then they send them out there. So these are the famous puffin, and you can see why they call them the clown. The bird, the clown of the sea. The West region is also a lot of attractions coming over there. Look at those glaciers coming from the mountains and going there for the hiking tours. Some of the most spectacular waterfalls. Look, this waterfalls is not coming from a river. The water are just coming through the rock from a lava field and flowing into a river. This is the same place in winter. Why you see how Iceland changing its face so much between the two seasons. Why it's always important to be there in different seasons and not always in summer. This is a big mistake to think that Iceland is only a summer destination. Look at this beautiful mountain here. And of course, in that side of the country, you're going to find into the glacier. We had before into the volcano. Now this is into the glacier. This is the largest man-made glacier cave or tunnel that was dug inside a real glacier. So first you get to the base camp. You jump on these huge man trucks that were used in the past to create to carry ballistic missiles in the Cold War. Then when the Cold War is supposedly over, they took those and converted them into passenger trucks, and they can go through every or any terrain you can only imagine. You go on the ice until you get to a hole, and then you go through the hole and you get into a very long and impressive tunnel. The tunnel goes as deep as 120 feet under the surface of the ice, and because the glacier is actually a frozen river and it moves and it have curves and it have kind of falls and waves and everything, it's ever changing. So this caves has to all the time be maintained and dug out all the time, otherwise it will actually get blocked at the end. They put LED lights behind the walls, so you get all these incredible effects, and they have a little chapel over there. You can get married, you can come do concert over there. We charged up once this whole tunnel for a nice group, and we have done over there a big sushi display. That was cool. It was a lot of ice to put it on, and of course you can combine it with the snowmobile and get all the way there, and rather than using that big truck if you want to. Now let's speak about winter travel and why to go there in winter rather than the summer. So before we get there, let's understand something. When you come to the summer, let's look at the sunlight, okay? June 21st is the longest day in the Northern Hemisphere. Sunrise is 2:55 a.m., and the sunset is in midnight and 3 minutes. So you actually get sun for 21 hours and 8 minutes. In between that, you get a bit of dusk. That's about it. Therefore, you're never going to have dark during the June and July at all. And that's amazing, because it means that instead of having a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours tour, you can actually have a long day. So some families that have a lot of adrenaline and energy, they finish their tour and then they go up on another adventure at midnight, and it keeps them going forever. And it's very difficult. I'm telling you, it's really difficult to go to sleep at midnight when there is sun. It's really difficult. And actually, I remember what happened the last time I finished a food tour at around 6 p.m. and I could not have dinner at 6 p.m. after just finishing a food tour. And I went to my room and I fell asleep, and I woke up and I said, okay, now I'm hungry. I walk into the streets and it was full of light, but everything was locked down. And I said, what am I doing? What happened? What did I miss in the news? I was looking at my watch. It was 2 a.m. and it was full of light, and I was by myself, very hungry. So they do go to sleep at a certain point, but it's very difficult to sleep at the time. So you have to always make sure you have good cover for your eyes in the summer over there. Otherwise, you'll never sleep. When you go in the winter, if you look at the very, very, very extreme day, the shortest day of the week, which is of the year, which is December 21st, look at that. The sunrise is at 11:20 a.m. Sunset, it's at 3:29 p.m., which means that you only have sun at 4 hours and 7 minutes. That's it. And when you have the sun is not above you. The sun is in the horizon. For 4 hours and 7 minutes, it looks like sunset. Beautiful golden light. This is the most beautiful light for photographers, and people from all over the world are coming to take picture in Iceland during the winter light. It's very little time to do it. So if you're going there in December, you pretty much have to get up the hotel, have breakfast, you leave at 9 a.m., which is nice. You drive for 2 hours in dark, you get for your first attraction, and then the sun's starting to rise. You do whatever you have to do. Before you finish and had lunch, it's already sunset. You're driving back in dark. So you cannot do much in winter when it comes to accomplish a lot of attractions, but the light and the feeling of being in such a place is absolutely incredible and definitely worth it. Now, don't be alarmed. Because of the location of Iceland, the country gains 3 hours of sunlight and loses 3 hours of sunlight when it comes to winter. every month. So in the end of January, you're already going to have 7 hours of light. And when you're going to get into the end of February, you're already going to have 10 hours of light. That's how quick it's going to go. So don't rule out the winter, but maybe don't go there right now in December 21st when it's really, really dark and only 4 hours. Just go there in January. I've been there in January 30. It was absolutely amazing. We have done full day tours and still had the most incredible condition for the northern lights. Now, you can only see the northern lights when it's dark, and in the summer it never gets dark. That's why northern lights are never visible during June, July, and most parts of August. So we say that the season starts around September, and it finishes in the beginning of April, I would say. In order to see the northern lights, you need 3 very important conditions. One, it again has to be dark. Second, it has to be clear sky. If it has clouds covered, you will not see a thing. And then, of course, you're going to have a lot of sunstorm activities. What you see over there, what makes that phenomena is actually the sun dust, if you want to say. Difficult exactly to explain how it is, but if you don't have those storms on the sun, you will not have this type of activity in the poles a few days later. So the northern lights can be seen in those 3 things are coming to place together. So nobody can guarantee you northern lights when you go to Iceland. And remember, that's only winter or fall or the beginning of spring. And even then, if you're coming for 2 or 3 nights, you may be disappointed they will not see it. That's why I say come to always more and make sure you have enough time. And the way we do it, our guides actually have special app and they know exactly what are the conditions. And we don't set a specific date for the tour. We usually say the tour for the northern lights, which is always late night, around 9:30 we leave, which is difficult. It's cold at night. We leave at 9:30. We say, well, let's do it on the first day. And then if we see that the conditions are not good, at about 6:30 p.m. we'll call your hotel and said, hey, not worth going today, we'll go tomorrow. And then we keep on postponing it until we find a perfect day where you actually feel that it's going to happen and it's going to work. I don't know what is happening over here with those colors. Here we go. Okay. So this is the Northern Lights. And the other thing you can do in the winter only is those crystal ice caves. So look at those amazing caves. Look at this is a person outside. This is all like crystal walls. So in the summer, this is under the glaciers. This is full of water of the glacier melting. But in the winter, when the glaciers are not melting, what is happening right now that this is all going to be full of ice and of, I don't know what is that we're looking over there. This is interesting. All those arrows. I don't do those. So you can see that this is only can be visible during the winter. So if you like to see those the crystal ice caves, you should travel to Iceland in the winter. Guys, I'm done. That was a really brief and a really quick review of this amazing country. And remember, you should be there in every season possible because the country changes its face all the time. Do yourself a favor, unless you go on December 21st, don't go for 3 or 4 nights. Give yourself a week or more because the distances are long and there is so much more to see, and you will regret it if you always go on there and stay in the city and think you can see everything as a day trip. That's a big mistake, which unfortunately a lot of tourists do. You have to move around to be able to see it. I'm done. Dominique, are you there?
I am here. Thank you so much. You really showed us what Iceland has to offer. And I hope everybody enjoyed that. I hope everybody's looking forward to planning a trip to Iceland. Obviously, there are better times to go, but you can go anytime throughout the year. And hopefully, stay tuned because we're hoping that Eitan will come back and talk to us about some other destinations, possibly
with pleasure.
Peru, Morocco, Israel. I'm sure they will all be just as magnificent. So does anybody have any questions?
Actually, Dominique, I was writing a list of questions while Eitan was talking, and as he kept going, I had to keep crossing off the questions because he answered them all. So it was a beautiful presentation, Eitan. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Jim. Thank you.
So thank you to everyone, and we look forward to what next week has to offer. Thursday we have Hawaii, so make sure to join us to learn all about the new requirements of what you have to do to lay on the beaches of Hawaii. Have a good rest of your evening, and goodbye, everyone. Thank you.